Nice and relaxing.
Okay, I hear you now. Don't say
Beggars.
the N-word. Oh no, I'm through. I'm going through as well. Why are all our voices recorded? Now people know who we
We're
are.
on my PS Remote Play. How do you think I'm talking to you?
I love everybody, especially tranny people. They're the best.
Oh god.
I love everybody. I love Velma. It's such a nice and relaxing show.
Alright, Noah. You ready for this interface? So here's
Looks so calm and relaxed.
decisions you can do with all sorts of things to read and understand. There's research that you gotta pick through all this stuff. Understand what all of those are doing. You can pick your national focus, like what are you gonna do for your country.
Wow, it looks really easy.
Isn't that great?
Oh yeah.
There you can do military industrialization, you can build military factories, civilian factories, naval dockyards, synthetic oil to keep your tanks with fuel. You can get fuel silos so you can hold that fuel longer. You can convert military to a civilian and vice versa. And then you just queue up like this and however you see fit.
Why are we all playing this instead of like other games like Smite?
Oh no, I'm just getting started.
It seems if you put that game in front of me, I'd blow my door.
There's tanks, you can upgrade aspects of the tank, but it's not just as simple as that. You have to deploy the tanks, you go into here to deploy, you have to edit it, and you have to use very specific sets of army units. So you have to customize, how many soldiers are in here, and that determines what your width of your combat is, your soft attack, your hard attack. You then do supports. You can get anti-air, cavalry, recon, anti-tank if you're fighting mostly against tanks. There's a specific width that you would have for this. That's just for the infantry. You can have mountain infantry, which are better at mountains. Infantry that's motorized, so anything that's like a car and stuff. Then you have light tanks that you can set up, heavy tanks, cavalry if you're retarded, garrison troops. And that's just for the army, and when you do that, you have to go into production here, where you can see how much production is actually allocated to my weapons, my artillery, my tanks, and then you have to increase these based on what your needs are, so you can keep increasing that based on your production. Your production's actually the military facilities that you were just seeing me build there, and based on that, that determines how much equipment you have, and then you can see here, this is actually upgrading it. I currently have enough equipment, but it needs to be upgraded, but after I upgrade that, and if I research a technology, i.e. This right here for my weapon, then if my weapon is upgraded, then I have to research that into my production as well. So that means that this MP38 is actually going to be obsolete and it'll be researching again. Same thing goes for artillery, tanks, submarines, all that good stuff. You have officer corps, you have to learn how to do doctrines, set up that. This is a totally separate tree that you have to figure out how to work. Then you have the naval one and air force one as well. Then you have the trade routes, so you can see what you actually have producing in your country, what you're importing, what you're exporting, what you could export to the Soviet Union, etc., to get more resources for every little bit of thing. Okay? Then you got
nice
logistics, so this tells you how many supplies you have for everything. So right now I'm currently negative for my Air Force, so I'd have to replenish that real quick. I have free military factories, so I can boost those into whatever I need. So if I need more tanks, I can get more tanks, artillery, what have you. But if you increase that, then you're using more of these resources, and if you have a negative resource, then again you have to go back to trade and then get it so that you actually have a positive net goal of that. Otherwise you won't be able to build it as quick, you'll have a penalty. You then have to modify your government. You can select what kind of research you want, your military staff, such as this guy here. You can change what your logistics of your army is going to be, whether it's going to be based on efficiency and organization, or if it's maneuverability, where they move faster. You also have that for your high commands, whether they're going to be armored, logistics, etc., or bomber-focused. You also have your political advisors, so you can change your type of government, work with other nations, convert them, etc. Then you also have decisions that I was talking about. You can also use this to get rid of factions that you don't want within your own country, because yes, you will be fighting against your own country at times if you're not careful. You also have available war goals, whether you're going to attack a country based on what your diplomatic relations are. You would have to then, this is a totally different screen now, where you would have to justify your war goals, say what you wanted to take, etc., ask for military access, etc., form non-aggression pacts, or if you stage a coup, if you start sending in people to basically influence their government and start a war. You also have, let's see here, assigned divisions. So now we can get into the actual gameplay of it. You actually have to convert these into soldiers. You put these into actual armies. Only certain people can have certain characters, and of those characters, you can only have so many soldiers within your one group. So you'd have to split it up until I get, for instance, this guy who is Erwin Rommel, down to 24 people. You can then link him to an army commander who is totally separate. That gives you also bonuses based on traits that you see down here. And from that, you can link up to 5 to him. And of which, if I keep doing this until we get to what I need. Okay, now he's at 24. I can get another general. This is von Manstein. We can set him up. And then you have all these different abilities that you can do with your soldiers. So if you wanted to, for instance, set them up to be on the front line, get them ready for war, you do that. You can then do this to start them exercising, so they'll be fully trained up, ready to go when they go into combat. If they were paratroopers, you would assign this. You'd have to pick an airfield and then set where they're going to go. But you can only do that if you have air dominance, which I haven't even started talking about air. Totally different game. It's this right here where you have to select this, select which armies or which air forces that you want to attack with. You have to select whether it's going to be an air superiority or if they're going to be doing bomber runs, or you could do it into the sea as well. And you can see as they're fighting what's going on with that. And that works for every single one of them. You have to keep repairing them. They do require oil, so you have to monitor your resources. If you go into the naval field, then that's a totally different thing where you have your own naval flotillas. You can assign whatever you want for them. You have to also assign generals and everything for that. You can pick where they're going to attack from, etc., and if they're going to be doing logistical raids on certain areas. So you can do a patrol, for instance, over into the eastern northern sea, and then do all that for each of them, and so on and so forth. Does all that make sense?
Yeah.
You done?
No. Wait till you see the actual fighting.
Alright, go smite.
Oh, no, we're not done.
Easy.
Oh, no, you wanted to see it, you're gonna see it.
I understand my request.
Heinz Guderian, if you know anything about him, he's actually a tank expert. That's why I can assign that to him. So if I unpause, I can increase the time a little bit. You also get events like this, where you get to see what else is going on. So they're getting into position, move one over there, and boom. Now we need to set up against our French line. We'll set this guy up here. So that will be covered. Okay. And then you have to do attack orders, so where you want to actually attack from. Then you have to see what your actual soldiers are going to do once they get there, and then determine where you want your retreat lines if they are not winning the fight. Or you can do a garrison approach where they will defend a certain area and fall back to a specific area if should they lose. There's superiority.
Nearly retarded.
For people who are really smart and want to be fast.
So all that just happened. Now I'll show you war. So now we click these, and then we can see exactly how the war is going at every single turn of the fight. And as you see on the fight, you can see basic statistics of how our soldiers are performing against theirs. We have air superiority. We're also attacking from multiple directions, so we get bonuses for that. We also get bonuses for leadership that they don't have, and we outnumber them. So that is why you see a higher percentage for us right now, and our combat width allows us to all fight at the same time. So you can see all that going on while the planes are going overhead.
I mean,
And
this is clearly retarded.
and if we had more tanks, we could actually do a spearhead approach where we could just push in like so. And attack from multiple different directions.
I'm gonna go look for some chocolate.
I have chocolate. I know it.
You then get alliance opportunities such as this. Oh, Italy wants to join us. You get Lend-Lease agreements. And then you can see
It's so common.
exactly what Italy's going through. So they're fighting in mountainous terrains. You can tell based on the landscape of the area, and you can also see it based on the picture down here and what that does to your combat width. So you can see now it's a combat width of 75. They get a division attrition plus 30% because they're fighting on the mountains, unless they're using mountain infantry, in which case they'd actually get a plus to that instead of a minus. So you can see I've actually encircled these units. They're not part of their main country anymore, so then I can keep pushing in, and they're not going to get supplied. They're essentially going to run out of supplies over time. It's like Mariupol falling.
The battle for king. You should show this game to Putin. Maybe he'd take Ukraine by now.
There are mods to play it like
Sure,
the
they
Ukrainian war.
for that.
Show this to Putin and his generals.
Oh, and
Maybe
you
they
got-
would have had it by
And
now.
you got multiple theaters, right? So you got this theater that we got going on in the east. We could have a separate one on the west. You can see we have a rail line. We can set up new rail lines and connect them like so. And then increase those so we get more supplies over time to those areas, but we also have to be careful and use anti-air in case there's any air forces from other countries that may be attacking us that would destroy our rail lines so we wouldn't get supplies in. And since because we took enough territory of Poland, we killed enough of their people, their victory points were suffering, we actually got them to capitulate. You don't have to lose everything to die like StarCraft, you just basically need to lose enough to make your country want to surrender. So now that that's done, we can go into Belgium and Holland and
Jenny,
Luxembourg.
Pay attention.
So see, we're getting set up, all the armies, and I'm playing on the highest speed possible so you can see all this in real time. Now we're setting up here, and because the Air Force is going to have to reach over here, it doesn't have enough range to get over there, so I have to rebase them elsewhere, such as near Brussels. And we could do night attacks if we wanted to, such as like that. But we're going to do this instead, because we want to bomb the shit out of France during the day. Get more treaties with the USSR. Let's see. Now we have more events that we can do. So that gets bypassed. Now, because we took over Poland, we got more factories because now we have that additional factories that we took, but we get a penalty because they aren't ours. We are occupying them, so we get like 75% of them. We're going to use that to build up more of our MP38s until such time that we can upgrade those. But now because we had some fighting in our dogfights, we got experience, so now we can upgrade our planes a little bit. So we get that. So that's for your air doctrine. Now we could also do it for our ground forces, so we can get Blitzkrieg, the Kampfgruppe. Now we can do this, and then we can see, okay, are we doing okay on upgrades? We still need to work on that, but reinforcements are good. Construction is moving, and research is still underway. So now we can do that, but oh look, we're getting attacked from the sea. We need to go fight them, so we take off of that. We go over here, and we're going to try to encircle them so they can't push any further into Germany. Any soldiers that we get here, and if they can't get back into the sea, then they're going to essentially die.
Black people.
This game is all about encirclement when you're talking military, although that's clearly only like 5% of the fucking game, as you can see. Okay, they're eliminated from Germany. Now we get back up to Holland. Set up here, we're going to try to take Amsterdam. Okay, now we're gonna press our claims. Charge right in. let's see. I don't need the people at Luxembourg, actually. We can get them over here, too. And if I were to do this how I would normally do it, I'd actually have air troopers coming in to drop down behind them. And let's get over here. Get our air superiority going. We should be building cast, but I'm just showing to this really quick so you can actually understand what we're doing. Although you probably have no idea what the fuck I'm doing at all.
I have no idea.
So you can see we're starting to make a push here. We start to do manual attacks so we can get around them and start to do a pincer attack to encircle them. And then, boom, they have capitulated. And Italy's a dumbass. Let's get this fixed. Alright, now that that's done researching, we can upgrade our stuff. Just gonna showcase that real quick. We can get more factories because we just took Holland. Get that going. Go into Belgium. Should have actually waited till we were prepared, but it's okay because we're just showcasing this. Get into a fits of line. We're gonna try to push for everyone's favorite, Dunkirk.
I played Miracle at Dunkirk.
What did you say, Jen?
I said I played a song in band called Miracle at Dunkirk. It was a concert march.
Who are you?
I'm the band that plays the drums and
This is a very aggressive
plays
Britain.
the snare. Is it bedtime yet?
Alright, Belgium fell. So right now we're trying to take Paris. It's full of Frenchies anyway. Although we're trying to take out Great Britain from our land. That's good. Now we can go back. Circle Luxembourg. Try to take that. It's a one city fucking nation, so if we can't, then we should kill ourselves. So set that up. Get that in. Then how are we doing in the air? We're losing the air right now, but we can make that a little bit better. Get some more air superiority going. We don't necessarily need all those planes over there, so we can get them to Munich. All the while, we're getting close to Paris. Luxembourg is capitulated. Paris fell. Now we can set these guys up to start pushing into the Maginot Line. Just to slow them down. And Britain did its fucking tactic again, so we're gonna come back here, push that.
When does the game end? Do you conquer the world?
Who's to say it ever ends?
So it's just one endless simulator?
It can be whatever you want. It can be a nuclear war and become Fallout if you wanted.
Sorry.
Alright, we took out France. Wasn't that simple, Dova?
Yeah, it's so easy.
Oh yeah, there's radar so you can actually see what you're fighting against before you actually go into battle. You can build rockets, nukes. I didn't showcase that. So we can go into here. So here's your experimental rockets where you can get the rocket engines. You can get nuclear bombs. You then have to build a nuclear bomb facility, which is similar to your construction here. So that would be this. You'd build nuclear reactors. And then once you build that, you then have to research planes. And with planes, you can attach the nuclear bomb to drop it on one of these. But you have to have air superiority in order to utilize it. Simple?
No.
Oh yeah, there's also partisan effects too, so they can rebel any country that you've taken over. Just for shits and giggles, since we're gonna end this, I'm just gonna go to the war with the USSR and see what happens, with no preparation whatsoever. Oh, I can't. I forgot I have a PAP. I agreed to the nap. Alright, well that's it. Wasn't that fun?
Yeah, it was really simple.
I can show you how naval shit works.
Look, I can really